The United States Navy SEALs are the best, strongest, and bravest soldiers in the world. People that want to be a Navy SEAL have to go through weeks of testing and training to see if they make the cut, and most of the candidates do not make it through the program. In its entire history, Navy SEALs have only been men because they were seen as bigger, stronger, and tougher, so no women were allowed. This story is about how one woman named Jordan O'Neill changed that forever. Jordan O'Neill worked for the Navy, and she sat at a desk where she was safe and content giving information to other officers. She was good at her job, but she knew that she couldn't get any further because she had no combat experience. She applied many times for combat, but she was turned down over and over again because women were not allowed in combat jobs. So she sat and did the best she could. It wasn't until one powerful U.S. Senator named DeHaven went up against the military's policy against women in combat. Senator DeHaven challenged the Navy and their policy against women openly and made such a media circus about it that the higher-ups in government wanted it all to just go away. So they decided to allow a test case program. The higher-ups chose Navy SEAL training as it was the toughest and the most grueling, and most of the men that went through the training didn't even make it.
Look, nearly 1/4 of all the jobs in the U.S. military are still to this day off limits to women, and that has got to change.
What about those that say that...
Senator, this is a contingency program for 100% integration. If female candidates measure up in a series of test cases, the DoD will support full integration within 3 years' time.
Senator DeHaven got to choose the candidate. She looked through a huge pile of female candidates looking for the right person, and she came across Jordan's file. She liked what she saw and called Jordan in for a chat.
I like this one. Triathlon, winter sports, skeleton, Olympic contender, winner of the Arleigh Burke essay contest, works intel. Well, maybe too much of a think tank soldier.
Show me.
This really is top draw.
Jordan was on board with going to training, but she knew it would be harder than anything she'd ever done in her life. But she decided to give it her all.
Honey, come on. I survived jump school, dive school, and 3 brothers. I think I can take care of myself.
When Jordan arrived at training, the other candidates, all men, were not happy to see her. Most of them had tried hard and applied a bunch of different times to get a shot at the program, and they didn't like that she had help getting in. Jordan just remained quiet and waited for the commanding officer to greet them. The commanding officer spoke to the group, and then he turned the training over to Command Master Chief, who'd be running all of their training. He was a quiet and stern man who was intense, and he made it his life's work to create the best and the strongest men for the military. He greeted the group and he told them the rules. If you want to quit, just ring the bell 3 times.
I never saw a wild thing sorry for itself. A bird will fall frozen dead from a bough without ever having felt sorry for itself. The ebb and flow of the Atlantic tides, the drift of the continents, the very position of the sun along its ecliptic. These are just a few of the things I control in my world. Is that clear? Yes, Command Master Chief! Is that clear? Yes, Command Master Chief! If you feel you cannot carry on, if you now care to admit that you are woefully out of your depth, that bell is your salvation. Strike it 3 times and you're out. Free to get a hot shower and a good night's sleep.
The first day of training was absolutely brutal. They had to roll large metal pipes up a hill, and some of them fell and the pipes rolled back over the top of them. They had to carry large boats filled with water over their head and hold it there for a long time. They had to do countless push-ups in the cold ocean water. They had to crawl for miles through mud and sand. It was brutal for the first day, and the worst part was that Master Chief wanted one person to quit, or else the day would not end. Everyone thought Jordan would be the first one to quit, but she endured. Another man got out of line, walked over to the bell, and rang it 3 times. The first day was over, and the rest of them had only 3 hours to eat and sleep before training started up all over again. The next day's training was just as tough. They had to crawl through mud and under sharp fences while fire and flames blew over the top of them, and loud bangs and explosives went off all around them. Jordan was struggling through it, and when she and her team came to a tall wall that they had to get over, she bent over and let her teammates step on her back to get a boost. When they were all over, she looked up and no one was there to help her over. One man stayed at the top, looked at her, and told her to quit, but she didn't. She was able to scale the wall and finish the exercise. She knew that she had to do something to fit in and get the respect that she deserved. She went to the barbershop and shaved off all of her long black hair. She looked in the mirror and saw herself as a soldier, and maybe the others would see her as that as well. Meanwhile, off the base, newspapers and TV channels were all looking for more information on the girl who was in Navy SEALs training. All sorts of stories were going on about her, and the papers called her G.I. Jane. It was a media circus, and the higher-ups in government that agreed to allow her into the program were starting to get worried that she might actually finish. Jordan was as beat up as all of the other men in the program, but she pushed through just as they did.
Tender? It's okay.
Try to get as much air on those abrasions on your back as you can. Okay, got tendinitis in your right knee, and that is standard issue jungle rot on your left foot.
Lovely.
So, you're quite a mess.
Well, let's fix me up and get me back out there.
She worked out in her off time to get stronger. She practiced in her off time to get better at all the drills and exercises. She had to if she wanted to finish the program. A few of her classmates started to believe that she was equal and she could do what they did, and they had no problem with her. One training exercise, she and her team were wading in the water and a boat rode by really fast and the team had to grab hold of the boat and pull themselves on. Jordan failed over and over again. She just wasn't strong enough. Master Chief thought that this was the difference between her and the men in her unit. She just wasn't strong enough. He went to Jordan's room and told her that he doubted her. But he put her in charge of an entire crew for the next day's training.
You were given the Navy Cross, right? Can I ask what you got it for?
Since it bears on this conversation, I got it for pulling a 240-pound man out of a burning tank. Could you pull that man clear? Lieutenant, you couldn't even haul your own body weight out of the water today. I'm moving Mr. Wickwire to boat 5. That puts you in charge of 6. Remember, there are no bad crews. Only bad leaders.
Jordan and her team had to do real-life training exercise where they had to jump from a helicopter and sneak into a jungle and check out a little hut in the middle of nowhere. She led the team and she got them in place to observe and report only. One of her crew decided not to listen to her and he went against her directions and he ended up getting everybody caught. The crew was captured by Master Chief and the other instructors. They put the crew in little tiny cages and they tied them up and beat them up pretty badly. Master Chief punched and tossed Jordan all over the place in front of her crew and said that this was the end of the line for her. She was too weak. Jordan threw her head back and hit the chief right in the nose and he went down. Her men saw this and screamed out in approval. They all finally saw that she was just as much of a soldier as they were. They accepted her as their leader. Finally. O'Neill and her crew were on a submarine getting ready for another training exercise when the captain of the boat was told that they have a real-life operation and O'Neill's team is the closest asset available. Master Chief was asked if they were ready, and he confirmed that the team was ready.
We have been directed to break from training exercises and join the battle group Tango Chaser. We are proceeding toward hostile waters. Department heads, make ready for battle conditions.
Your CRTs are the closest unit with the right capabilities. Your job would be to facilitate extraction. Now, Master Chief, if for 1 second you don't think they're ready for whatever reason, you speak to me now.
We'll be fine, sir.
They were supposed to go into a desert and help another SEAL team get out of the area alive. O'Neill would lead her team and Master Chief would also be out there. This wasn't training anymore. This was real. O'Neill and her team snuck slowly onto a beach and cleared the area. They set up communications while O'Neill and Master Chief went on as lookouts. They looked ahead with binoculars and saw a truck carrying enemy soldiers. O'Neill snuck down to get a closer look while Master Chief watched over her. An enemy soldier got too close to O'Neill and Master Chief had to take him out. The shot was heard by everyone and soon a whole army was firing at Master Chief. He ran away, leading the bad guys away from O'Neill, and she took the chance to go back to the crew for help. She looked at the map and figured out where Master Chief was headed. She made a plan to get to that area first and set up an ambush. The crew took off running, and hopefully they could get there first before anything happened to Master Chief. O'Neill and her team arrived, and there was no sign of anyone, so they got to work planning the ambush. They sat and waited. They waited and waited and waited, and were about to give up when they saw Master Chief fall down a hill, and he was wounded.
Well, I see the chief, and he's got a buttload of trouble coming our way. Boys, let's get ready to rock and roll.
He was limping, and he wasn't going to make it safely. Nobody knew what to do, so Jordan threw down her weapon, ran out there towards Master Chief. Shots rang out all over the place, but she stayed the course. She got to Master Chief, picked him up off the ground, put him over her shoulder, and she carried him to safety. Once they were safe, the crew set off bombs and flares, and the echoes of shots filled the air. All of the bad guys were taken out. O'Neill and the crew finally made it to safety with a wounded Master Chief. O'Neill and her team had completed the training. She had saved a life and was the first woman to ever be a Navy SEAL. The end.